Oh man, all right. I guess we can go ahead and get into it and actually
You're
like
like, that's
start.
enough of James talking, dude. Let's get on the
Well,
podcast and go to bed.
it's late, so I gotta get you while your energy's good, and I don't want to waste
Oh,
it
dude,
on the color purple.
yeah, no, you're good, man.
Is that the good stuff?
Yeah, what are you drinking tonight, bro? We should talk about that real quick.
No, I just got Pepsi.
Okay. This is Airborne with vitamin C,
Yep,
Propel
check.
powder, and BCAA energy,
There it
whatever.
is. I have
A little bit of
I
that.
have a Propel as a backup, but I'm not
Dude,
mixing anything into it.
have you had Liquid Death before? You've
Yes,
seen it. You've had it.
I've had it. I'm
It's a weird thing.
meh. It was all right.
Do you remember the
It
flavor
was
you got?
the white can.
Is that just straight water?
I think
I
it
think
was
it might be.
citrusy or something. I
Okay.
feel it was
Oh,
flavored.
it's probably just sparkling water.
Yeah, it was. I think it had a flavor. I don't remember what
Okay.
said flavor was.
I've been drinking them lately.
Yeah.
I guess I just have too much money or something. I don't know. They're like, it's a weird thing, dude, because you could buy just straight canned water. I guess the whole packaging thing, it's supposed to be marketing, like whatever, but I guess it's also recyclable packaging because aluminum is very recyclable.
Right.
I don't know if that justifies $3 for 16 ounces of fucking water, but I don't know, man. I'm ready to move
Oh
on
no,
when you are.
no, sorry. I tried the mango chainsaw. It was the gold can.
Oh, okay.
That's what I
Gotcha.
tried.
I had a lime one today.
Yeah.
I was feeling thirsty and had $3 to spare. So
This is high quality content.
maybe we could get a sponsorship, dude.
Maybe.
Liquid Death. I've tried most of your products. I'm willing to fucking hawk them.
Three, two, one. Dark Lord.
Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where we play and talk about video games from our backlog. My name is Alec, and I'm joined, as always, by my good old pal James. Hold on before you say anything. I had a little quip, and I forgot what it was. Dang it!
Were you gonna say I was a journeyman in painting ceramics? Because that's what I was gonna go with, dude.
Yes. Oh, I had a good one too. I should have written
You
it
gotta
down.
write them down, boy.
I should have wrote them down. I think it was newly married to a professional photographer,
Oh
or
yeah, man. Married to a newly made professional photographer. Maybe.
there you go. She's made some of my store posts. So
Yep.
and I paid with plastic. I think I've made her stuff.
It's funny. I posted pictures that we took over the week here. We took a little week off to,
Yeah, dude.
I don't know, vacation around home, but we took a lot of pictures because we just got new sweet cameras. And I tagged her on one of the pictures, and it happened to be a squirrel. Like, and it just looks like I'm tagging her as the squirrel. So it wasn't very well thought out, but
So I think I already know the answer to this, but how much vacation did you actually get to participate in? Because I feel like you were pretty busy.
we were, yeah. So, I mean, we took one day and just did like home repair stuff. That was disastrous, man. I fixed my sink and then I realized that I didn't fix it like halfway through the day. I just looked under the sink and it was still leaking really bad, maybe even worse. We fixed our fridge, which was really, really a big thing because fridges are super expensive. I did end up fixing the sink the next morning, but yeah, we've done a fair amount of vacation. We went to the zoo with one of my friends and his kids. That was pretty fun. It's different, doing anything like that's different when you have kids with you
For
as
sure,
opposed to just
for
going
sure.
as two adults.
Yeah, yeah.
We played some like putt golf today, which I haven't done in forever. Rode go-karts. That was kind of crazy.
Would this be at the world famous Andretti Speedway? No.
No, we
Where'd you
went to a
go?
place in Cocoa Beach, man, and it was pretty cool. There were like live animals, I guess, like alligators and stuff.
Is that a new place? I don't know if I've.
No, it's been there for a long time,
Really?
and you could tell. but no, it was cool, man. And we've done like, I don't know, like one of the big things I wanted was just to like go out and do stuff, you know? So like this weekend's gonna be a little more, there's like a craft fair or something like that we're gonna do tomorrow. We took a lot of pictures because we both got like new phones with fancier cameras and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
So trying to think if there's anything else that we really did. Walk the dogs. I've been sleeping in, which I normally get up at like 4 every day. So I've been sleeping in.
So yeah, I guess what's your like ideal vacation?
Oh man, I think we enjoy going to like mountains and stuff like that. I guess.
So going to do something.
Yeah, going out and for me, ideally, she prefers. I think not to take the dogs. I generally would prefer to take them because I like to be out and doing stuff like hikes and all that stuff. And I think the dogs enjoy that a lot more than sitting at home. So
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. I think because I travel so much, I want to be home and do absolutely nothing.
this was the vacation for
So
you, brother.
no, I mean like I want to get from the bed to either the couch or the computer chair
Dude, I want to get
and
from the
play a
bed to the
game.
wheelchair to the couch to the
Yes.
floor
Yes.
to the ambulance to the hospital.
That's 100%. I every now and then, if we get a chance, I do like to go and do things, go places. Living in Florida, we went to Disney tons before and after having kids, so I
Yeah.
do like doing that. But I don't want to have. I like having staycations. That's it. I like having a staycation every now and then.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think in this case, it was probably the optimal thing for us just because we're saving for a pretty big vacation we're going to do, I think, around the beginning of 2024. So that it was kind of nice to spend that, save the money, I guess, and not go like all in on a vacation, you know?
We are playing and talking about the game Jotun. That's how I'm going to say it. Jotun Valhalla Edition.
Þóra, bardagamaðurinn sem dó smánardauða. Þér hefur verið veitt tækifæri til að...
And you played that on which console? How did you get a hold of this little slippery sucker?
Let's see. I believe I played it on Epic, so it would have been PC. Through my Steam Deck on a 50-inch television,
Damn, boy.
and it was pretty cool. It was overkill, but
It was the TV.
yeah, it was huge for a game that I think would have been just totally fine handheld.
I played it on my Steam Deck as well, mostly on my TV using an Xbox controller. However, I didn't get this game for free on Epic, and I didn't. I don't know when you got it. Do you?
I don't. I've had it for a while, unless I also grabbed it on Steam. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I
played it through Epic.
paid full price and bought it on Steam.
Oh no!
Because I was like, this is just gonna be too fucking easy. Let's do it.
I wonder, can we share games? Can
On
we share
Epic?
games on Epic?
I think we would have to just log in and install it, and I wasn't gonna bother with that.
Yeah,
We had like a fortunate time with Death Stranding because you had it on Epic and I had it on Steam.
right.
So like
right.
that's how I think that's the only time that we've had this where it was kind of coinciding weird. Well, Overcooked was another one that we both had to have, any co-op games we have to both have a copy of it. But
right.
so yeah, it was not a waste of money. I'll say that. I mean, for it was $15 I think for
Okay.
the Steam version of it.
Right.
It's hard purchased. This was your game, right? You picked this one.
I did. Well, technically, a guest that we've been trying to schedule had picked it, and we've been
okay.
having tons of scheduling conflicts, as you do. It comes with the territory. But we've played it, and we've got something banked for them later on. But you and I went ahead and played it just in case, and enjoyed it, and figured, we've already gone through the process of playing it. Why don't we talk about it?
You get some
But-
content for you filthy listeners.
Yeah, but funny enough, this game was actually already on my backlog, so it was going to be coming down the
Yeah.
pipeline eventually, probably sometime next year. But I went ahead and moved it up in my discussion trying to schedule our wayward guest. So
Yep. Cool, man. I just played it because you mentioned it. I don't know. Dude, I didn't even know this game existed.
Yeah, I a while ago when I started noticing that Epic was doing free games every week, I would just go on there, I mean, barely look at the cover and add it to my library. Like almost
Yeah. Oh, I need to do
100%
that right now, actually.
every week I would get it. I grabbed one of them. I didn't grab both for this week,
Okay.
but I don't know, let's see if you can guess which. So anyway, this was one of those that I've had in my library on Epic for I would be so bold as to say years. I don't know exactly when it was free, but it's been in there for a long time.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure what it was about. The cover looked interesting.
I wasn't even really
And-
sure what it was about until I finished it.
Yeah, yeah,
No, seriously. Like, I didn't even understand what I was doing.
yeah. I think, and we were getting a little too far ahead, but I think the whole story was presented. The majority of the story or the setup was like in the first 2 minutes of the game, like during like the intro credits or opening sequence, if you will. After that, it was a lot of dialogue that came across the screen. So it was a decent story, but it wasn't presented to be like in your face.
Yeah.
Þóra.
Jøtun Valhalla Edition is an action-adventure video game developed by Canadian studio Thunder Lotus Games. It was released for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux in September of 2015. The Wii U, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One versions were released in September the following year, receiving above-average scores from IGN and numbers in the mid-70s from Metacritic. Jøtun Valhalla Edition is a difficult yet enjoyable game ready to give even the most veteran of players a challenge. Jotun's story follows Thora, a recently deceased Viking woman, having suffered an inglorious death. She must travel across the realms defeating Jotuun, giant elementals of nature, chaos, power, and more. This will allow her to impress the gods and enter Valhalla.
Dude, that's crazy. She fights
think
Odin
it's-
himself.
I think it's Yera,
Hegala, is it? Jeez, man.
Hagalaz,
Yeah.
Hagalaz, Isa,
Isa, the ice giant. That's good. Easy.
Isa or Isa?
Sure.
All right, and Hanan and Faye.
Okay, that's easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then she
Kanan,
eventually
Faye.
fights Odin himself. Having proven herself, she is ascended to Valhalla.
So that was the setup.
Yeah, that was a setup,
So-
dude. You got me.
So,
good.
so how did you like the graphics and the art style? Because I want them separated.
So some parts of it I liked a lot. The art style was good overall. It was all hand drawn, which is pretty cool, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I believe it
Yeah,
was.
so the art style I did like. The graphics were good as well, but some areas stood out as much more pleasant to look at.
Mhm.
And then also, I'll say some of them were very plain.
Yeah.
Like, especially like I'm thinking of the first area with the grass, which was one of my favorite areas, but if you think about it, it was very just green. Like the ground was just, it looked like paper.
Yeah, I think for an art style, because graphically, I think it held up across the entire game.
Yeah.
They picked the art style and they graphically were able to pull it off in a very seamless way. It played very well. But the art style, the first area that was all, plant life and all that was very bland.
Yeah. But I liked that. I mean, I didn't like the blandness, but I liked the area.
Right. I think it was probably because they wanted to kind of introduce the player slowly into it. So,
And they did a good job with that.
Yeah, I think it was all right. It was fairly straightforward. You didn't really get lost or anything. It ended up making like a big circle. So as long as you
Yep.
went around, you were pretty fine there. But yeah, I did like the hand drawn nature of it. I did.
It made for some pretty gnarly looking shit, especially
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
boss, the first plant
Yeah.
lady boss was pretty grisly looking.
She was,
Mhm.
and she was a lot harder than I thought she was going to be. I think I died one or two. I don't think I made it through any boss without dying at least once.
So do you consider you've in order to enter a cave, you kind of fight like a mini boss? Would you consider that a boss? There was like
Oh, the first like giant skeleton thing. I think it was
Yeah.
like a zombie or a skeleton or something.
yeah,
That one, it was all right. I think they were using that to kind of
make sure you
show.
were ready to fight.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was like your tutorial almost. So,
That was the only boss that I beat in one shot.
mhm,
Was the plant lady.
yeah. Each boss that I found had like a pattern,
Yeah.
or like it was once you played like a few times. In my case, you kind of saw what the pattern was, and you could kind of adjust your play through that. So I didn't quite get her pattern at first. So, and the hitboxes across the board
Yeah.
were weird a little bit. It was in that isometric view, and there were some times you couldn't really tell where your character was,
Yeah, definitely.
and you start swinging at nothing. So actually having to learn how the game's hitboxes were set up kind of was an extra challenge in some portions.
I think too with the first boss, for anybody that didn't play it or they just want to hear about it, there's like this giant plant lady with huge roots that come out, and the only way to like get the roots to retract is to use a charged attack to hit them, and then they pull back to the boss. That one, I think maybe the reason I was so successful on it was, one, it was a stationary boss where all the
Yes.
other bosses moved around, and also I kind of found like an area where she wasn't hitting me, and I could kind of wail on her a little bit as long as the root was pulled back. And then obviously there's a lot of mechanics in that fight that force you to get out of that specific area. But
Right.
there was definitely a lot of zones where you could kind of take a chill.
Yeah, she was stationary, but she used a bunch of like minions.
Plant tentacles.
Yeah, and weren't there like little creature guys that came up and were, or no, it was the plants that if you got too close they would slam down. I was thinking
Yeah.
of one of the other giants, but
Yeah, I think I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thor or whatever.
no, it was let's see.
Thor Heimdall. There's the one boss where there's like a bunch of dwarves that attack you.
Yeah, it was the I think it was Faye.
Was it Faye?
Yeah, the warrior giant. She had, I think,
Okay.
a sword and a shield, or an axe and a shield,
Okay.
and she would do the big swipe, and I think she would throw something.
Yeah, they
It's
throw
been
a
it's been
yeah.
about a couple weeks since I played.
I think I'm mixing up the bosses in the game with the abilities, like the names of the, so whatever.
Yes, the runes through the game, you
Yeah.
find these shrines that give you runic powers, and they were named after different gods in the lore.
Yeah.
So right on. Well, let's move over to sound quality, music, and something I'm really excited to talk about, or at least defend myself: voice acting. So sound quality, I think it did well. It fit the style of game very, very well. It
Yeah.
fit the art style. It wasn't too. It didn't. It just meshed very well with it. And so happy they had voice acting, and it was a real world language. It was Icelandic, I believe. I didn't actually write it down. I was so excited. I just got so, beside myself. Let me see. I think it was Icelandic, but I want to
Jeez.
just verify.
Oh geez. Icelandic is what people are saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked it up before, and I had confirmed it previously. I just didn't write down the actual language, but I can't understand it to save my life. However, you could tell
It had English subtitles too.
English subtitles, so you can read what's going on, but also just the there are some words that are like similar, or not similar, but there are some Icelandic words that have a very close pronunciation to some English words, so you could kind of hear them in there every now and then.
Right.
But no, just the cadence of how they spoke, you could tell it was a
Felt
real
Real.
language.
Yeah, it's weird. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it was before I even confirmed it. I was like, this sounds so much better than what we've been hearing with Ori and Brothers and some of the other ones. So, what was Submerged? Thank you. Oh man, so very, very, very happy that they actually went through the process of just using a real language. Just it's so easy, so easy.
It's already there. It's
It's
written.
already there.
You
That's
don't
right.
have to burn your tongue.
So they got huge props from
yeah.
me for that.
The music in this game was good, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
the sound quality, the sound effects, I guess, were good too. I particularly liked when you did the charged attack. It would have that like classic gleaming blade noise, like the ding right before you swing the axe. I liked that a lot. But the music in the game was great, man. There was one day, I feel like I say this every 5 recordings that we do. There was one day where I was playing this and I just stopped because I was like, I'm going to take a little break from it. And I was just sitting on the couch, fell asleep. Like, the music was just relaxing. It didn't take long.
Oh, man.
But yeah, the voice acting was good. I liked it. The music was great. It was it was always there. There was always music playing in the game. So that was nice.
Yeah. It reminded me, I probably should have brought this up with the graphics. It reminded me of some of the like older, I don't know, it gave me like an old like Game Boy game kind of vibes. Just newer age, I guess, like in how it played.
Yeah.
I think
I would say like for me Super Nintendo would probably be.
Yeah. I don't play many in vibe is what I'm going for, not like graphically or whatever. It's more like the vibe. I don't play many isometric games. I've only really played 2, Heroes and Diablo. I don't really play any other ones that I can think of.
Is Baldur's Gate considered isometric? No,
it is, but that one's new. I've only ever played 3, so I didn't play any of the older Baldur's Gate. So that's a new one for me. So very, very few times or few games that are this isometric view, but I feel like that was
RuneScape
seen in older games.
Yeah.
But anyway. What's left in our opening stuff? We do have to talk about the mechanics, which I think you touched on a little bit with the charged attack. Fairly simple mechanics. There was I think a regular attack and a charged attack.
There was a dodge.
You didn't jump, I don't believe.
No. And then there were special abilities you could use.
Yes.
And then you could switch through. That was kind of cool and difficult how you switch through them. You switch through them with right and left bumper.
Yes.
And then you used them with what? Y? I guess or triangle.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that right?
I think it was the top button, which I think would be Y on Xbox.
Or triangle.
Yeah. I didn't like having to switch. I can't tell you how often I would want to use one, but I either hit the bumper too many times or I'd not get there because it would just go one after the other.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
There were times where I would use the same thing twice. Like the speed buff was particularly bad for that. Like I would activate it twice on accident and it would use both charges. It would punish you for that.
Yeah. I think because you were already using your joysticks to move around, I think getting like a radial menu, like doing the bumper and
pause
then
the
picking,
game for a second.
Yeah, and then using a radial selection. I think that would have worked a little better.
Or, I mean, there weren't even that many abilities, dude. You could have like, maybe it would be a little bit problematic, but you have the D-pad. That's 4 directions. You also have multiple triggers you could have used. But I could see that also being a little bit problematic. Like, if that's a lot to remember. So yeah, maybe a radio would be the best option for that. I want to say that the character swings that axe so fucking slow. Even the fast attack felt like an eternity. However, it makes sense because if she wasn't very old and it's her father's axe, right? It's not her axe. It was like I remember reading that or hearing that. It's her father's axe. It's obviously very heavy. So even just a regular swing of it takes some time to move it. So it's okay. It's a mechanic. There's a reason for it. But holy shit.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that bothered me as much as the hitbox issue I was talking about earlier. I guess I got used to it pretty quick, and I don't play these types of games very often, so I don't have much else to compare it to for an isometric melee in the way this one plays out. Because like Baldur's Gate, for example, you go up and it's isometric, but it's turn based. Yeah, so it's a little different.
One thing that they did that made it a lot more tolerable was the dodge. Even though it wasn't a very effective dodge, it was pretty minimal. You could interrupt any swing that you're performing, whether it's a regular swing or a charge swing. You could dodge out of it very easily, and that was nice because that's pretty realistic. You just get out of there.
You're not locked into the full swing.
Yeah, but so that was a good way. It was frustrating, but it just took a little bit getting used to.
Right.
and it made sense for the game, so that's fine with me. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I also wanted to call out that in addition to the issues I had with the hitbox, the camera position made it a little difficult too. So
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah,
a whole different graphical type issue if you were to like change it into what, say, we talked about RuneScape or Baldur's Gate, where it's isometric, but you can rotate the camera 360 degrees.
right.
You couldn't do that, so you were stuck with that static position. But I also had an issue with the camera would try to zoom in or pan out depending on what you were doing.
Yeah,
And it was a couple times, I think, as you had a weird transition from like level to boss, it would try to zoom in or correct the camera for you, and it would mess you up a little bit.
yeah,
I had
yeah.
happen. So it was nice that they were trying to get you into where the action was, or zoom out to get you more of like a grandiose scale of the level. But it was a little weird in some spots where combat was involved. So other than that, that's all I got to say for the mechanics.
Yeah, with what you're saying, that would I feel like it tends to make your character feel slower. When it zooms out, you're not it doesn't feel like moving the joystick all the way in one direction is as effective anymore. Even though
Right.
you still move the same distance on the playing field, but I get what you're saying. The more you zoom out, the slower it feels like you're moving.
I think it was because it was doing it while you were about to get into or out of combat.
Yeah.
So it was usually tied around that specifically. So as it was happening, kind of like you said, it was changing how you perceived your movement. So your tactics kind of changed in that brief moment. Well, there were only 5 bosses for the whole thing, so it wasn't a huge thing for like hours and hours and hours of play. It was like, a total of 90 seconds over the whole game. So, all right. So, should we get into the story?
I just want to say one thing briefly about I guess it's a gameplay mechanic. There was a little bit of puzzle in this game, and then there were boss fights, but the game is about the boss fights. The rest of it is really just a way to acquire abilities and kind of pad it out a little bit, maybe just the playtime of the game. None of the puzzles were particularly challenging. I never died doing the puzzle parts of the game. There wasn't even real combat. There was like enemies occasionally, but
I had,
what happened?
worse than any boss being on the tree. I think it was in like the shadowy area with the raven or the crow that
Yeah.
would swoop down on you. Oh my God. Fuck that bird, dude.
Something happened, and I think one time when I was there, it like glitched out or something, and it just like disappeared. But yeah,
Man.
I get what you're saying.
So that was
Not easy to dodge.
the only time in the game that I had to look up, like, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because I tried dodging, I tried ignoring it, I tried attacking it, nothing. And you had to have literally a perfect dodge, like
Yeah.
3 times, or you would die because it would hit you so many times.
Yeah.
So I hated that whole section, and I still don't think I found one of the shrines that I needed to get to because I just got annoyed. And I gotten so there are 5 giants. We already talked about the plant one. There's 4 more or 5 more. Anyway, there's giants in each one. Past that first one, you have to go fulfill 2 areas that each have like a rune that you have to get. So for that raven, I had already gotten the rune for that area, so I was like, I can just leave and be done.
I hated my least liked area was it was like when you were going down the routes, I guess, and you had to.
That was one of the last ones I did.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that at all. It just felt so linear, and I kept
Yeah.
going back thinking like, oh yeah, maybe if I spent so much time basically doing nothing when I could have just like ran right through it and got
Yeah, I think I was
the
in
end.
that one for 2
long.
minutes.
Too fucking
No,
long.
like 2 minutes, dude.
It's too long.
I looked at the map, and you can see where you had to go, so I just hit all the spots that I needed to, got my bonus, then got the thing at the end, and then fast traveled back to the main gateway. So
I don't know why I hated it so much. It felt overly it felt too complicated for how simple it was.
I got you.
How's that?
It was Yeah, it felt there were some of these. It had two sections you had to go through, but a couple of times that one included, it just felt like the second one was filler, and it could have just
Yeah.
you didn't
Oh
have to
yeah,
have
dude.
two for each
Yes.
one. It could have been asymmetrical. You could have just had like, oh, this one's got two, this one's got three, this one only has one. Don't worry about it. You didn't have to go all crazy, but they stuck with that everybody gets two past the first one.
Yeah. What was your favorite puzzle zone?
Constellations.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. So you're anybody listening, you're essentially creating constellations, but there's like a bunch of these things you need to activate and connect to be able to form a constellation. If you walk through them, it'll damage you though, because it's connected via lightning. It was fun. It was kind of like
Yes.
calming and it was kind of pretty. Like the lightning effects and everything like that were really pretty. But yeah, I liked that one the best. I liked the setting of the top of the tree as well. I wish the fucking squirrel played a little bit of a role. Like, do something.
I
Do you
saw
remember
the
squirrel in the tree?
when you got all the way to the top,
And they were like, "Oh,
and
this."
then
Yeah,
did you interact with him
that's
a
it.
second time, or
That's all.
did he just run by?
I think it ran by, and then I saw it again up near
Oh.
the top, and then it ran back
Yeah.
down, and that was really it. It
Yeah.
was just kind of a
I-
thing, but there's probably some sick Norse mythology about squirrels that I just
that
missed
was
out
one
on, but
thing on my homework that I wanted to do was kind of research squirrels, and also dive a little deeper into what part of the lore they were pulling from for this game. Because Norse mythology
Right.
is so popular and vast, but it's super popular
It is.
for
Oh
so
yeah,
many
yeah, it
forms
is
of
popular.
media. I mean, just look at Marvel, right? So but I'm curious to see. Yeah, I'm
Like
curious to see
Spider-Man.
what they decided to, which direction they went with. So I have a feeling just off
Yeah.
of like how they were presenting some of the story and things they chose to focus on. I think they were probably going fairly accurate, or
Oh, probably. Yeah. I mean, they referenced the squirrel and what it did.
Yeah.
That's pretty meta. I mean, that's probably a lot more historically accurate than what Marvel's doing. So, okay. And then, yeah, I guess we'll move on a little bit to the story part of it then. Does that seem like the logical progression?
I think so.
Cool. So we already mentioned the character Thora. She doesn't die a warrior's death, but she's given a second chance to impress the gods by fighting and defeating these giants.
So I missed it initially, but I think as the game was starting, I was like setting up my headset and getting like in the space to like want to game. But I had to go back and watch it. I guess she died while
drowned?
she drowned. They were on like a ship going somewhere, and went through a storm or something, and the boat sank, and she ended up drowning.
Gonna let go of the gigantic axe, just plummeting to the bottom.
So now she's like in, I guess like I don't know if limbo would be the right term, but like
Purgatory?
in some kind of like an in between, trying to impress the gods as a warrior by fighting these giants and
Right.
these different entities to like impress the gods themselves to get herself a place in Valhalla.
And solving obligatory puzzles.
Yes, clearly.
Yep.
That's what all the runes are. They're the answers to the puzzles, right? On like their axe and stuff. Oh, she was in the void. There it is. Oh, let me see if I can
The
pronounce
void.
this. Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm not gonna try. It sounds like a racial slur. Go ahead. Give
Gunungagap.
it your.
The Gunungagap,
Ooh, shit, dude.
which is translates to the void.
Which gap also translates to the void, which is the last three letters of that word. So you don't even need to be able to translate it.
It was like when we played when we played God of War, and he was going through the portals
Yeah.
and walking on the world tree. If you were to like jump off, that's where she was, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm like, I feel like I sounded sarcastic right there. Fucking, what a blast, dude. Good job. But no, that is pretty cool. I guess I wouldn't have thought of that. Thank you for putting it into terms I can
You're
understand.
welcome. That's what I'm here for, dude.
God of War terms, dude.
Yep.
So it's really just bosses. There's the means to get there. And, if the game was just boss and then you go in the next level, it's just a boss again, it would be a 20-minute game and painful.
Yeah.
But
I think, at least for me, the reason this game took as long as it did was because I died so many fucking times
The challenge, yeah,
on the bosses.
dude, it was pretty
themselves.
discouraging.
It was bad.
So I guess I looked this up a little bit. So I guess there's technically an order you can do the bosses in where it's optimal. I did not initially I don't think I did that at all.
Yeah.
I kind of went through and got all of the abilities and then went and slapped the bosses.
I would pick an area, do both sections, do the boss, and then go to the next one.
So I just did the puzzles, acquired abilities, and then just ran through the bosses as a gambit. And the reason I did that was because I got the first boss that I encountered past the plant one. You don't have a choice. It's just where you start out. It's the first boss. But the first boss I got to when I had a chance was the lightning boss.
Ooh.
And the guy fucking wrecked me.
Yeah.
And then that's when I looked it up, and I guess per the recommended way, that is the second to last one you would face.
Really?
Because so I guess certain abilities you get make that boss a lot easier. Speed being a big one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the speed was a good one.
Yeah.
The only one that I didn't do the 2 runes and then do the boss all the way through was the fire guy. Because that's the one that fucked me up. I think I spent 2 hours of gameplay trying to beat that boss.
You know what, dude? I saved him for last because I thought he was going to be the hardest because you mentioned that, like, that goddamn fire guy or something. I actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if I died to that guy.
Okay. So I think what got me is every boss had a pattern, right?
Yeah.
His had a lot more.
His was a lot of just a straight avoidance.
It was all avoidance, but his had a lot more randomness to it.
Yeah.
So, like, when he slammed down his sword, it wasn't just the same graphic. It was like a uniquely new crack in the pavement, which would then summon up fire and hit you.
Yeah.
So you couldn't always anticipate what was going to happen.
But I think the reason that didn't cause a big issue for me was because I played that very in a reactionary way.
Yeah. And
like, I was aware of the mechanic, and then because you're introduced to the cracks killing you through the puzzle part of that section.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I don't think I actually died to that guy. Now that I think about it,
God damn it!
So he gave you the hardest time.
Yeah, he gave me the hardest time.
Was he the last boss that you did too? You said
he was like the second and last boss. Because I tried going at him like for the second one. Said fuck that, and then I left, got more abilities, and then came back to him. And then still, once I got I had all the good stuff, I still had a problem with him. I did find out after finishing the game and then watching some other playthroughs, there was like a whole 2 other runes, like powers I never got. Like, there was a shielding one, which would have been super helpful.
One. Yep.
And what was the other one? I think there was 2. I can't remember which ones they were, but I had
the spear, because I didn't get the spear.
I didn't get the spear either.
Yeah, so that's probably what it was.
I think I had
decoy,
a heal, the decoy,
the speed, and then the hammer.
Speed and the hammer. Yep, those are the 4 I got.
Same. Yeah, you said you got the decoy.
Yeah. That was
pretty. I liked that zone.
That
a
was
lot,
actually. I liked that one for the warrior. I think who was Faye. I think.
Yeah, dude, the boss that gave me I feel like if anybody's actually played this game and is pretty familiar with it, I feel like I'm gonna sound like an idiot. The ice boss took me like 20 tries, dude.
That was the easiest one for me.
Yeah, see, I don't fucking get it. Everybody says that. Dude, I bet you if you gave me every ability and unlimited life, put me on God mode, I'd still struggle with it. I don't know why, dude.
I think it just took a long time for me with his.
It took a long time, and for whatever reason, I felt like I was getting hit by shit I had no business getting hit by.
Yeah.
He would fall forward, and like his pinky toe would hit me, and it would fucking half of my health. And I'd be doing so good, and then it was always something stupid like that. And then halfway through the fight, every single boss too, halfway through the fight with these bosses, they introduce like a new mechanic or something happens. The new mechanic on the ice boss was it goes from being a field of snow to being a field of ice.
Yeah.
And the ice makes you slide around like crazy.
Yeah.
And I know the speed thing is kind of how you overcome that, but I only had 2 charges of the speed boost. It allows you to traverse the ice a lot faster. And then I guess you can also use the charged attack to knock parts of like ice blocks towards him.
That was my main method.
Dude, I don't know why, but that worked one time for me. Every other time it would go in the wrong direction.
Oh.
It was fucking absurd. I hated that boss.
So he was your least favorite.
Oh my God,
My
dude.
least favorite was the fire guy. Did you have a favorite boss?
Yeah, dude, the fire one. No, I liked I really liked I don't want to try to say it, the lightning guy. He was he was creepy looking. Like
Megalaz?
I liked how he was like cut in half and you walk up and like hit it once and you can't really tell it's anything, and then it like laughs and reconnects in that like kind of nasty way.
Yeah.
I liked just the initiation of that. And that boss had cool mechanics with like the lightning rod things that you could stand.
Yeah, I think that was a really, really cool fight. I liked that one a lot as well.
Yeah.
So,
and that was like something I discovered on accident through like it just I happened I didn't know what they were. If I was a lightning boss, I would not put lightning rods in my arena. That seems like a bad thing.
That one was fun.
It's like putting a gun at the entrance to your house. Just come on in, dude.
It reminded me loosely, unbelievably loosely, of a couple bosses or dungeons out of World of Warcraft. When
Yeah, that had a feel to it for sure.
one of the new, I
In
think
the
it was
Cataclysm
down in
expansion.
the Egypt themed one, the desert themed. There was a lot of like
Oh yeah, there
lightning.
were like wind and lightning elemental things, bosses. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was the
Yeah.
one that was way up in the clouds. Like I cannot
That'd be a good
remember.
place for a lightning boss.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
cannot remember the name of any of that stuff because it's been a year since I played it. But that's the vibe I was getting.
I like the desert area in that game, and I wanted that mount there was a camel that never stopped chewing.
So where are we in Thora's story here? So she went through, I'm going to get it right. She went through the plant giant Yera, the lightning giant Hagalaz, the ice giant Issa, fire giant Keenan Thompson, and
Yep.
the warrior giant Faye. And from
And then
there,
you fight Odin.
you go to Odin himself and Smackdown. And this fucker had like all the abilities from all the bosses.
Yeah, there were even like little cameos from the bosses
Yes.
in the fight too.
Yes. He was tough.
It was tough, but thank God he was normal sized. Honestly,
Yeah.
he wasn't like you knew where his hitbox was, and also you have theoretically a lot of abilities you can use in the fight, which would help. It would have been cool to have the spear and the shield, I guess.
Yep.
You know, there was one boss, I can't remember which one it was, but there's like an attack where they jump down on top of you. That would have been nice to have the shield for, because it was part. I remember it from the Odin fight, but like it was not easy to avoid. It would show like a shadow, and you have to get out of the way of the shadow. But it was a pretty big shadow.
It might have been the fire guys because he was jumping around like a mofo on some of that bit. Yeah.
That's your nemesis, dude.
That fucking dude. So yeah.
But yeah, the decoy came in pretty handy on that fight too, because this guy Odin, you wouldn't think it, but he'll attack a decoy.
I like that they didn't just give him like I like that he wasn't just like another boss. He kind of was like a throwback to all the different things you've already encountered. So I like that they went through the trouble of like adding some of those old mechanics to kind of round everything off. So I thought that was a nice touch.
It's kind of funny. In all of that, the plant boss really was underwhelming. Like it compared to everyone else, when you have like the little cameos of everybody and their abilities, like the plant boss was just like, yeah.
Oh man.
Fuck it, I'm a plant.
Oh,
and
good.
then, yeah. Kind of funny. You just run away from it and it can't move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then dude, literally the game wraps up like 30 seconds later. Within 30 seconds of you getting the last stroke on Odin, it's pretty much over. It's just like, and then she ascends to Valhalla, Done. Finish.
That's it.
Home screen. Yep. What was your favorite ability?
Ooh, I think if you could use it properly, Loki's decoy. They all had names, by the way. So we had Frigg's healing, Freya's speed, Thor's hammer, Odin's spear, Loki's decoy, or Heimdall's shield. If you could use it well, I think Loki's decoy was really good. I wasn't the best with it, so like a true gaming simp, Frigg's healing was probably my favorite thing to have, just because it just gave me a chance to be hit one more time. So
Yeah. The amount of damage that the bosses do in this game is out of control.
I mean, or for a while, one hit and you're pretty much done, and then after you get a couple levels out or areas done, maybe two, it's brutal. So
my favorite was Thor's hammer, dude. I just like the damage that it would do. It was like high damage. You just bonk them with it.
I think that attacked too slow for me, because I tried using it quite a bit, and I can't tell you how often with that fucking fire guy I would miss, because I would like wind up and he would move
moved a lot.
Yeah, and it was just like, well, fuck, man, I just wasted all of it. I'm not going to get it back until I'm done with this. So
it was good against Odin.
Yeah.
Because he moved very slowly, even though he should be pretty quick, but he moved pretty slow. And Heimdall, or not Heimdall, the Fae person,
right,
is pretty good against Fae.
I liked her fight a lot. I didn't say it earlier, but I really liked Faye's fight.
Yeah, Fae.
Yeah, I used the decoy on that one a ton. Like this,
I think you get it right before that fight too, so it kind of feels
it makes sense. Yeah.
One thing I wish that they did in this game that would have been cool is if you got the abilities actually from the Jotuns, or what is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The giants. If you got the abilities from the giants themselves instead of from shrines leading up to them.
Right.
Because then you could kind of have the Mega Man thing where you can pick which order you go in. And kind of challenge yourself a little bit more. Like certain things, it kind of felt like certain abilities worked better for certain bosses. Frigg's healing is whatever. It's and overall it's just a heal. But like Freya's speed was specifically strong against. I felt like the lightning guy.
Right.
The decoy seemed like it was strong against the warrior. Odin's hammer, I don't know. It seemed pretty strong against the ice guy. But I guess what I'm saying is if you acquire the abilities of these giants, and then you could use them and do the giants out of order.
Right.
There's like an ideal order to do them if you acquire the abilities, and then there's like the challenging ways to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could have been neat. But...
No, it definitely would have added some agency, I guess, into like how you decided to go about it.
What did you think about your boy Mimir, dude?
That was I liked how he was drawn. Let me get to your picture here.
Yeah, it's just a picture of Mimir.
Yeah, it
giving
was
you that fucking side eye from hell, dude.
And I actually forgot about that.
Yeah. Love that guy, dude.
Oh man. It was funny. I love how I did. Oh Lord. They with a game like this, you have to we've talked about like games reusing assets or reusing character models or whatever. Sometimes they're out of place.
Ooh.
Mimir's wells didn't always fit where they were.
Yeah, like
that.
Like,
he was like they had that in a fucking tree. This one's in like a lava. Yeah. It was just goofy.
They could have done a different Mimir for each area or something.
Yeah. Given it a little,
or made like an area you could get to that was like an oasis, maybe.
Yeah.
You know something I also want to mention, just because I love to do this. I liked in the ice area this. I kind of forgot about this, but the ice serpent on the lake.
Yes,
that was pretty cool.
I liked
it. Was
that?
Yeah,
but was confused at what the point was.
I think it was just the area was so big, and the puzzle was just finding a way to navigate it based on landmarks.
Okay.
Kind of because
Okay.
I think that was the puzzle. But yeah, some of the puzzles fell flat, but like environmentally it was really nice. Mm-hmm. That being
it definitely got me like a tense. Like it was like, oh, well, what am I going to do here? So it did its job of like showing a threat.
Right.
I guess it didn't register as a puzzle, but it makes sense. It kind of is, yeah.
It's like a navigational,
Yeah,
situational, navigational, masturbational puzzle.
there it is. So, I think with that, what are your final thoughts with this game?
The game was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good game. I did not expect it to be like that based on the trailer. The trailer did not indicate what kind of game it was going to be.
No, it did not.
I enjoyed it. It felt like a game that was maybe a little cheap at sometimes with the mechanics, but overall it felt satisfying to be able to, satisfy the bosses. It felt good.
Yeah, I agree. Same. It was not what I expected at all. Even though it was on my backlog, it turned out to be one of those things where I just tossed it in the library, and the cover looked kind of cool, but the cover art and the art style of the game totally different. So I was very surprised when it loaded into isometric and we're hacking away with that little axe. But I ended up
axe.
with a big axe, but I ended up enjoying it very thoroughly. This wouldn't be a game I would typically go towards. I usually don't gravitate towards them, but I'm glad we played it.
I just want to say too, I don't know where I got the impression that Thora's axe was her father's. I could be wrong about that. I think I'm right.
Yeah, it sounds right.
But if anybody is like an expert on this game and they're upset about it, come fucking fight me, dude.
Let us know at any social media platform, 321backlog.
Yeah.
Send us an email, 321backlog@gmail.com.
Give us a 5-star review and tell us why I'm wrong.
We're on Yelp.
Yep. Yelp.
All right. Well,
Come to my flea market booth and beat the shit out of me.
they could maybe come to your neighborhood bodega.
I'll be there. Catch me inside.
Catching them inside the bodega would be a great segue to what we're playing for next episode, which next episode is going to be in Christmas time.
Oh,
We're in the holidays right now.
ho ho ho!
We've almost digested everything we ate for Thanksgiving, but now we need to announce our next game.
And you picked this one too, right?
I did pick this one. I'm
This is
2024.
This is Alec's streak. Here we go.
2024 is going to be a big list of nothing but James's games, because I went a little too crazy getting things scheduled for the holidays, and we're going to get him back in the driver's seat for the new year. But for this one, to keep us somewhat into a holiday spirit, more for the atmosphere taking place inside the game, like the date of the game. God, I'm rambling. Anyway, to keep us in the holiday spirit, we're going to be going to Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, which happens to take place during Christmas. So New York during Christmas is going to be the levels that we play through. It's going to be fantastic. I've already got the game downloaded and everything. I'm very, very excited for us to play and talk through this.
Me too.
I've only ever played one other Spider-Man game, and I will look it up before our next episode, but I'm pretty sure it was like the PlayStation 2, if I remember correctly.
I've played a few of them on PlayStation 2. I'm excited to talk about that a little bit to kind of recap on the episode when we do it. I am very excited for the discussion of this game as well as playing it. I know I'm gonna like it a lot.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to play it. Before we forget, we did get all of our different socials and areas you can reach us and interact with us across the web. We have a link tree. So Linktree/321backlog, you'll be able to find everything that we're in and on. I tried to format it so the things that you can reach us the quickest and the thing we're the most active on at the top, but it is linktr.ee/321backlog, and that way you can find all of our different avenues, socials. We have a Patreon. A lot of good stuff in there. So while we're waiting for Christmas to roll around and waiting for Spider-Man Miles Morales, go ahead and find us on there. Take a look around. We got a lot of stuff going on. So that'll do it for us. And until next time, thanks for listening.
Goodbye.